everybody, and welcome back to Rise of the Podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Kara.
And I'm Brownie.
Do you guys know what today is?
Thursday?
Well,
it's Friday.
It's the
Let's
first.
not go back to Thursday.
It's the first podcast after our 6-month anniversary.
Hey, we've been doing this for an amount of time.
Oh my
It's
goodness!
true.
So, Kara, let's just talk about that 6 months of doing this.
Yeah.
Things we've learned, things we like, things we don't know that we don't know.
You know what I don't know?
I don't know what I don't know. There's too much.
A lot of stuff.
But no, so we started, in the other room even, and we used to sit and do this. And for the first 1 or 2, you weren't mic'd up at all, were you?
No,
I think
don't
it was like
think.
the first 5.
Yeah, and then we were like, no, Chris, you need to be talking because you're funny.
The reason our production quality is dipped is because I'm paying attention to what you guys are saying instead of actually running stuff. I'm blaming you guys for that.
Our quality is still amazeballs, so there you go.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And we've had, I can think off the top of my head a lot of the technical problems that we've had, which is kind of funny. So we've had the
Yeah.
foggy lens,
Like 3 times.
not starting.
You'd think that we would have fixed that after the first one, but no. if we don't mess it up multiple times, it's not a thing.
But then we've had sound recording issues.
Mm-hmm.
We had just lack of equipment in the beginning for a couple scenarios. We've had
Yeah, I
lights
think we
burn
started
out.
out with
Yeah.
one camera. And
We started out with, we had all 3 cameras in the
Did
other
we?
room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind, then just kidding.
If you want, in the channel trailer, like when we did the autograph video, that's
Well,
that
speaking
kept
of,
those
I think
3
we
cameras.
need to do another autograph and another giveaway.
Here's the problem with the autograph. We could buy an autograph or we could buy a C-stand. They're about the same price.
C-stands are awesome.
You could open the C-stand, Kara.
C-stand reveal at
All
1,000
right, guys,
subscribers.
let us know below. Do you want us to buy another autograph or another C-stand?
I vote for a C-stand.
Yeah, I voted for a C-stand too.
I vote for an autograph. It's more fun to unbox an autograph. Duh.
I mean, maybe.
All right, we should try
You
to
remember when the C-stand showed up at your house on Hawthorne, man?
Yep.
Just giant rectangles of death.
Yep. I was going to say what we should try to do is shoot a video of making the best opening of a C-stand in existence. Just get super excited, 65 camera angles, high speed.
Just do some slow speeds like ripping the tape or whatever.
I think like as underwhelming as it's gonna sound, I think the box is just stapled together. It's just going and it's open.
But you got to do slow-mo so you see each staple just,
Those crazy big brass staples too. Like I don't understand what those were invented for because I don't think it was for cardboard boxes.
No. First, putting your arm back together.
Yeah.
They have staples for the human body.
I was gonna say that's what I was gonna say. I was like, what doctor was like, instead of stitching this back together, I'm just gonna take a stapler and go ka-chunk, 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 down some open wound.
He's probably like hung over and he's like, oh man, that's like 80 stitches. Or and he goes in his toolbox like, aha.
Just disinfect the whole thing. It's fine. Ka-chunk.
I think that's how it happened.
That's disgusting. I hate just the thought of stapling somebody's skin back together. Anyway, okay, back to our beginnings.
Yeah, so it's like, I guess, Chris, you would ask why we started doing this. And
yeah,
that's-
we did do a video on this, but like for people that came on and don't want to mess around watching old videos.
If you do want to mess around and watch old videos,
yeah,
right up there.
that's like if you want to talk about audio quality issues. That was before we even had the mics set up.
Right.
The mics are there.
Do you guys remember before we even had the friggin'
Foam.
The foam.
foam? Oh my goodness! Just
So like that was pre-foam, mic setup. So it was just a shotgun mic.
Yes.
Like I think I was taped to the side of the
It
tripod.
was. Yes, it was. We didn't have the proper mount for it.
So yeah, it's just we just had it taped on. We're just like, yeah, that'll be good enough. And it's like it's a video.
it's
That's
echoey. The sound is terrible. We tried,
Yeah,
and now
I
we're so
mean-
much better.
yeah, that was boy, that was a thing.
It makes us grateful for
That
what
was
we have.
Yeah, that was before we had the little arm things, which I
Yep.
think like it'd be nice to replace these with actually like good ones at some point.
Right.
What, you got a
But-
problem with my white one?
Oh no, it looks fine, but they're janky. Like if you move them, they're like they want
Right.
to fall apart. They
then-
sound like high-speed Tuscan Raiders.
You tighten them, and then they really don't ever get tight. So it's
Yeah.
like you
And
touch
it's
it and just,
true.
And it's like if you over tighten it, you're just gonna bust the thing loose and it's done for.
right.
True.
But
It
Fine.
works.
they do the job fine. But
agree. I
it's
agree.
because you guys aren't rammy with them.
Right. Well, and we try not to disturb the studio at all in any form or fashion. Like if the wind blows, I get a little nervous. I don't want to come falling down. But no, so then we also, when we did the Lego builds, we started off doing the Lego builds. We had the 90-degree Manfrotto tripods. So we'd have the front leg sitting up on the edge of the counter.
Yep.
We'd push the tripod button all the way up and then like tilt it down and try to get the top down with the widest angle lens possible.
We
and
even
then-
had some cameras like nestled. Like there was a camera nestled underneath that to get the front view.
Well, because we have that big Kessler tripod that we just use as the static main angle for stage one, and then we
Yep.
have the other tripod up over that going down over. I honestly the GoPro stuff is fine, but I preferred that setup. But it's just a pain in the butt.
It is to deal with. I mean, the footage looks better on the camera.
Yeah.
And then versus a GoPro.
Well, couldn't we put like a board across and then hang an actual hook for a camera?
You know what I
Really?
realized is because I have a couple extra C stands right now, like extra.
Oh, you have the
quote-unquote.
Gobo arms?
Yeah, so we can just those little ball head things or whatever.
Yeah.
You can just put the camera onto one of those and that on to so these ones don't have it, but in the regular light kit we have those quick disconnect things. So put that goes out of the Gobo, then you get the ball onto that, and then you can just weight down the C stand and just have the thing come up and over.
Chris is doing all these hand motions so we can see what he's talking about. All of you people are like, I'm going to do this, and this.
Actually, we did exactly that, but with the lights when we did the green screen stuff for the music video. Those
We
two
did.
really tall lights. There was that exact setup with a light on it instead of a camera.
Interesting.
So we
Ways
definitely
to
could have
make it
done
better.
Definitely could have done it a different way.
Right.
But you
Right.
know, we'll see. Maybe we'll come up with something like that. Because we're definitely not going to be able to do the GoPro through the ceiling tile.
No, there's no ceiling tile to hang it from. It's just ceiling, like long way ways. No, so we did like the autograph reveal, and then we started doing the podcast. We've done some Lego stuff, some
We did a
games.
giveaway, and 2 people commented to win the R2D2 Porg t-shirt,
Yeah.
which I believe Jeremy's mom ended up winning it, but then gave it to one of Bill's daughters.
Well, that's awesome.
No, wait, they gave it to Bill, and Serenity, Bill's wife, gave it to one of their daughters as like a reward for learning a song on piano.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I also heard back in the day she didn't even like Star Wars, but now she does
Really?
That's good.
because of the T-shirt.
Because of the
no,
t-shirt.
it's because of us. It's because of us.
So that's
Also,
kind of fun.
that's one of the tough things is it's fun to share swag with people and get people
Mm-hmm.
interested in doing stuff with the giveaways, but it's when you don't have anybody that regularly watches the channel or people coming to watch
Right.
it, it's kind of hard to get a pool of people to actually give stuff away to.
Right.
I think we're getting to the point, though. I mean, you know.
It might be worth trying again. We'll
Yeah.
give away one of those $800 Star Destroyers.
Yeah, the Lego.
Do you know? Okay, I think if we gave that away, people would be sharing that mad, and we would end up getting quite a few subs.
There we go. Well, who wants to do an epic time lapse of a super sick Lego build? We can just give it away.
Right.
Jeremy's like, over my dead body.
Yeah, he's thinking, I gotta quit this channel. Take all my Legos home.
Take a moment and enjoy them. But yeah, and then we started the Good Bad series, and we're almost done with that. And the whole point of that was it was multi-purpose. We've, this whole time I've been very excited because we've stuck to a consistent release schedule. We've all the hardships. We're talking about technical difficulties. You can't trust hotel Wi-Fi.
Nope.
That was a problem we ran
Definitely
down
not.
into in Galaxy's Edge when we went down there.
So if I didn't have such a low data cap, because we did upload one video using my phone.
Right. But your
tethered
mom
to the
called you or
Wi-Fi.
whoever called you and said, hey,
Yeah, so it's we share data.
right.
And it's I set my limit so that I don't use more than what my fair share is. And uploading one video blew right past that on the second day of the billing cycle. And it's oh no.
Well, then I tried to up my bandwidth because I wasn't paying for tethering. So I was like, well, I have unlimited data, so I'll pay the extra for tethering. But it didn't kick in fast enough. But
Yeah,
I
we
still
were
got-
driving home when it kicked in.
so we didn't get to upload using that. That was $15 down the drain
Oh boy.
for 1 month.
So we need to plan ahead on these things. When we know we're going on a trip, we need to do the tethering. Sign up for it a week before we leave.
Here's what we need to do. We need to make sure we find a hotel with good Wi-Fi.
I mean, that's
I don't
true.
think that exists.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. They're always they
our
limit
hotel
each.
in California was nice, though.
The hotel was amazing. They just
Yeah.
every hotel has no bandwidth for the customers.
Yeah, it was I can't remember. It was 110 kilobytes a second up,
Yep.
which is I get most travelers aren't going to be YouTubers uploading stuff to the internet, but it's it was. I can't even remember what it was. It was like a 25-minute video, so it's
Right.
not small, but it's
Right.
not like I was trying to upload like the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy or something.
Gears of War 5 is 120 gigs on PC, I believe.
Dang.
So it's like, I mean, you're not trying to download a whole Gears game or
I
something.
mean, would your puck work?
the internet puck?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rex.
but we'd have to pay for it.
I don't see that as an issue.
I know, right? Like $10. What's that? I mean, how many times did we stop at Starbucks when we were down there?
Yeah.
Well, listen to you, Starbucks over there. Miss Starbucks. Oh, apparently you missed out on their free holiday mug.
Wait, hold on. What?
Yep. Yesterday they were giving away free. So it's their mug, but it's a travel mug that is identical to their holiday cups, but it's the travel mug.
What?
And they gave them away for free. Brooke got one and didn't tell me about it until after the promote. It was like for 4 hours.
I worked until 6. I probably wouldn't have made it anyways.
You could have gone before work.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Someone's going to wake up early even for free stuff.
You didn't.
Okay,
need it.
here's the thing though. I think you can buy those cups for like $2.
Well, it's still free. It's nice of Starbucks to do that
I mean, it is nice. Way to go, Starbucks. I like you.
because she likes her lattes. So yeah, so that was like some of the fun technical issues we had was just like trying to do a shoot in the road and we had the humming of the air conditioner.
Yeah.
And there was issues in New Orleans where I'm going to throw you under the bus, Chris. Hey, Jeremy, you need this microphone. It is at this Best Buy. And I drive all the way over there, and there's no microphone.
Hey, we ended up getting a better microphone.
We did get a better microphone.
But no, so here's what the problem is. And I think anybody that does online shopping would realize this. It defaults your location to where you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it defaulted to the Best Buy in Duluth. And then, so I was like, okay, it says it's in stock or whatever. And Duluth is a population of 8 people.
Right.
So I was like, if Duluth has it, it's like clearly this Best Buy in the heart of New Orleans is going to have it. So, and then I looked to see if there was a thing that existed at a reasonable price point. It was like $20, just a regular crappy clip-on lavalier mic you can feed into your phone.
That was all I was going to do.
And I was like, okay, yeah, that's great. And then went looking around, and I don't know why Jeremy couldn't just go, Best Buy is near me on his phone, but I found a Best Buy to point him to, and I was like, go to this one, pick the thing up. He goes
Well, I went
there.
to that one because I thought that one was the one with it in stock. I thought Chris had done the legwork for it. But for what it's worth, I also set that to be my directions. And I also checked to see if it was in stock. And the reason why I knew you were set to Duluth is because my phone was set to Duluth. So even though I was in New Orleans, it still had Duluth as my main store because I visit Duluth Best Buy on my phone when I'm in
Yep.
Duluth.
Yeah.
My cookies tell me, my cookies tell it it's Duluth.
Yep.
So even when I was down there on the, whatever, that still redirected me to Duluth. And they had one in stock in Duluth.
Oh, yeah. But so Jeremy ends up going there and calling me, and he's like, so they don't have this $20 microphone, but they do have this Rode Wireless Go for $200.
So what does Jeremy do? He buys a $200.
Well, so he was on the
It's a
fence
sweet
about
microphone.
it. He was on the fence about it. I was going to buy one. So I have all sorts of crazy audio stuff. I'm recording myself on a lavalier mic right now, part of my wireless lav kit that I really love. It's a Sennheiser kit. It's super dope. It's never failed to do its job. But, a few months ago, I was exposed to this Rode Wireless Go thing. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It'd be neat to pick one of those up. And they're $20. They're relatively
nice, yeah.
affordable. And so then Jeremy's like, no, I don't know. And I was like, buy it, use it. If you don't like it, I'll buy it from you. So I basically
Right.
guaranteed his purchase. So if he didn't like it, I would take it off of his hands. And he seems to like it.
It's a nice mic.
It is.
It is.
It is.
So yeah, there's been a lot of interesting production issues you wouldn't know about unless you started trying it. So
It's ridiculous. So, all that to say is, because we've invested a lot into our infrastructure here. It's like we have a whole bunch of lights, obviously a whole bunch of cameras and lenses.
A whole
and-
bunch of foam.
Yeah.
Half of which, thank you to Kaylin.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's ridiculous. It's like $10 for one square of
I know.
foam.
I know.
It's absurd. Like,
But it makes it sound so good.
Yeah, it does do a really good job.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's incredible how much stuff can cost doing this. It's like Jeremy and I especially sort of have the same mindset. It's like we're going to do something, we want to do it to the best of our ability. We don't want
Right.
to come in and just sort of half do it and
Right.
whatever. Because if you fail, then you're like, oh, if I would have tried harder, right? If we fail at this, if this is the last video we make for some reason, it's not going to be for lack of effort. It's going to be
Right.
because you guys think that we suck.
Well, guys, I'm done. Bye.
So, and it's just one of those things where it's obviously, and like this is none of this stuff is like the best of the best. It's
No.
like we're inside that confluence of like it's going to give us the quality we're looking for at a price point that's reasonable.
Right.
All that being said, it's like people that are interested in doing this stuff. Maybe you clicked on this because you wanted to see what we did to get started. You definitely don't need to invest in all this stuff to start doing things
Gosh,
like
no.
this.
Well, I know like Jeremy watched the YouTube school videos or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, start recording on your phone because nobody's going to care about the quality at the beginning. And
That's true, and
You
like,
know.
well, so, and we're in a unique circumstance too. That like we've been, we both have been doing video and photo stuff for a long time. We started doing stuff together in high school,
Yep.
and then kind of went our own different ways. And Jeremy focused more on doing like photography, and I focused more on doing like video stuff.
And I'm paying the price for it.
Well, there's a lot of stuff from just like from a basic technical aspect that overlap,
Right.
but
I'm glad. No, there is.
editorial wise, it does get a little bit more complicated if you've spent the last 10 years editing photos and now you need to edit video.
Right.
All that said, though, there is no reason to not start doing stuff just to get like used to doing it because like everybody is terrible when they first start. I've never
Yeah.
met somebody whose first photos actually looked good or first videos
Right.
actually made sense. Our
Right.
first videos are terrible.
oh, yeah. I mean, Jeremy and I are awkward as heck.
That's the best part. Oh, man. At least not like, you don't even know the camera's there anymore. Thank goodness.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
When
more
I
just
started, it was-
conversations among friends, and it's great.
Well, you should see
But-
every single time Chris counts me in, he'll try to mess me up like easily. And I'm always ready now. I don't even care. I'll just roll with the punches.
Part of it's to like amuse myself too. It's like I got Kara on the last one that we did where I
Right.
counted up from one.
Right.
Yeah, but
Anyways, the
but,
point
like,
is to start, yeah. And then
Yeah.
you-
Yeah, no matter what you have, start. You don't need to start where we started because we already had everything.
Well, yeah.
Because of what you guys were already involved in.
Yeah, and like because I had acquired a boatload of gear
Right.
between like if we had started doing this when we were in high school, we would have had like
you
a
guys
DV tape
made
camera.
videos in high school that I've seen.
Yeah, that are like.
Oh my
I think we need to
goodness.
post a couple of them just to let people see
If we hit monetization levels, maybe we'll do something on like the Patreon or something.
I was gonna say Patreon.
That's
We'll
what
have
we'll
like
do.
a $50 Patreon.
Yeah, if you
thing.
really want to see us look like fools.
I mean, it's some premium footage. That's
It's
when
great.
I used Flash, which doesn't even exist anymore.
Honey crackers.
No, not Honey
Oh,
Crackers.
that was like in the Middle
mid-production.
Ages. Yeah, that's like the
That's
we-
mid. That's not even pre.
We had some gear and some idea of how to use it.
Let me put it to you this way: I was on we'll just say the AV club in middle school in 8th grade, making
my
the school
gosh.
news on the tube TV.
Editing
where we
tape
had
to tape.
a full VHS, exactly.
Yep.
Where if you wanted to use computer graphics, you'd line into the V8,
Oh
like the
my
actual
gosh.
camcorder. You'd look through the viewfinder. You'd hit your slide, like your
You
through your
realize
PowerPoint.
that some of the people watching us have zero idea
Well-
what you're saying when you say VHS and line in with computer graphics.
So if you were to do a title card like "Welcome to,"
CMS News or whatever it was.
you'd hit like play, and then you'd hit record, and then that would play, and then you'd pause. Then you'd move to the next frame you wanted to display, and you'd hit record on the camera. So it'd be like hitting record on your DL, like you were lining into your DSLR, is like what we're using right now. And then you'd like to like a computer line in, and then just like literally record the line in. But you can't even line into cameras now. You can line out,
Yeah.
but you can't line in.
Yeah, it was such a crazy way to do stuff.
And you
but it was the
look
way that
through-
you had to do it. Yeah,
look
you had
through
to look
the
through
eyepiece
yeah.
to see what the camera sees. And then we went, to the park and made like a silly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't the one at the park, Chris? Are you in a dress?
That's a different.
Well, that's a different one. Of all the videos of our canon in high school, the one that I wish that I knew where it was. You weren't even involved with this one. This is literally me, Tony, and a camera on a tripod. We did a kung fu fight that went throughout that whole park. We shot a lot of videos there.
We did.
But that was like
That
just,
park's not even that way. The park is there, but the equipment's not there.
Yeah, no, like so. This is like historical footage now. This is like it documents the play equipment of our era.
Yes.
But it's like it was just so taking a step back and like being like, just go out and do stuff. Because we were just messing around with our friends,
Right.
And like learning what it took to make a good video. And it was literally like you'd set the camera up, you'd hit record, then you'd run out in front of the camera and just guess where you needed to be. And then we're doing like dumb kung fu fighting things or whatever. So now you were doing tape to tape editing. So
Yeah.
this is mini DV tape. So imagine
Yes.
a VHS tape, which nobody can anymore. Now make it about the size of an audio cassette. That's mini
Right.
DV tape. And it was technically, I think, no, it wasn't even HD yet. It was still SD footage. It was 480i quality.
Right.
But then if you wanted to edit it on your computer, you had to hook up to your camera with FireWire, which doesn't
Yep.
exist anymore.
Right.
And then you'd hit play on the camera and record on the computer, and then at less than 1-to-1 speed, it would play back the tape and capture the data onto your computer.
Yep.
So if you recorded for an hour, you'd sit there for 2 hours downloading the footage. And then you had
Gross.
1 hour-long clip of all of the stuff that you did, and you have to scrub through, and then you have to bust it up, figure out the stuff, and then figure out if you want to do a shot, reverse shot, or if you want to do whatever. All these things, it was a mess, but we really liked doing it. Anyway, that's the only video I can find.
Render time.
Render time. So I complain about render times now because they still take forever because we have just big chunky files now.
Right.
But these files weren't that big, and we would have to render for hours.
Yep.
To be able to play back and see if the things we did made sense.
That's insane.
So and
Just to have nowhere to post it.
yeah, because
Like,
YouTube,
YouTube
didn't
wouldn't
exist.
exist back
Literally
then.
didn't exist.
It was showing your friends, burning them onto DVDs to show your friends.
Yeah, no, and that's where I have all of them except for the Kung Fu Fight one, which is the only reason I think about it is because I don't have it.
Right.
Does Tony have it?
No,
Oh.
I was the only person who ever had any copies of it. But
Your mom probably has it somewhere. Moms keep
she has the
everything.
DVD with everything else on it, but she doesn't have that one because that one didn't make it
Okay.
onto there for some reason. Because
Oh.
it was weird because I edited it on a computer that wasn't mine,
Right.
and and then that computer ended up dying. It was a whole thing, but
I think I should reenact it.
yeah,
The buildings or the room isn't the space isn't there for you to even reenact it.
But-
you have to rebuild it.
yeah. Anyway, so just sort of just reminiscing, even back into the old days or whatever. We came a long way. Is the short story here. We messed around. We did stuff. It wasn't very good. We kept doing stuff that wasn't very good, and eventually we got a little bit better. We made some stuff that was okay, but still not great. And we'd sort of drift together and apart, doing
Yeah.
stuff. Jeremy's been doing Jeremy's stuff. I've been doing my things. And then I think that sort of brings us up to earlier this year when you guys went to the celebration.
Yep.
And all that being said, if you don't think you're good, who cares? Keep working at what you're doing. Sooner or later, you're going to get the hang of it and make great things.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you only get better by doing stuff. Like I
Right.
said, nobody's ever good at stuff right away.
No. And what did you say? It takes 1,000 hours of doing something to be considered an expert in anything?
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours?
Yep.
So there you
Consider
go.
yourself
I
an
mean,
expert.
just got to take that first step.
So
Yeah, it's amazing. I think that's so big compared to making videos and showing people in person, and then making videos and doing the whole YouTube thing it's been the fun thing about YouTube is the community aspect of it. And when people do comment or enjoy,
Yeah.
and,
I
be
love
active
seeing
on
the
our videos.
comments.
I do too.
Now, some of the comments on the music video are kind of salty, but I mean,
Yeah, we struck a chord.
whatever.
That's
I
okay.
that's when you're doing stuff that if people feel compelled to comment, you're doing something that's making people notice it.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're still about 50-50 on it, and that's all I really care about. That video gets 20 views a week still.
Does it really?
Oh yeah. When I look
How
at the
many views are we
analytics,
at?
5,800 or something.
Really?
Yeah.
I think, I feel like it was only 500. Or 5,000.
500.
500.
Viral.
Dang.
Yeah, so it's but then I kind of want to talk a little bit about, because we did do a video about this, but just for people that aren't going to go back and watch, just sort of talk about the genesis of this in your guys' mind, this whole
Just what? Just Genesis.
okay. Well, I guess I'll tell the story then, because apparently you're not picking up the setup here. So you guys went to the Star Wars celebration.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
read
got
Ashley
it.
Eckstein's book.
Yes.
I think that's what really got it going. Actually, we listened to the Ashley Eckstein's It's Your Universe. We listened to that on the way down to Star Wars Celebration. And I think that is really what caused Jeremy and I to really want to start doing something. We'd kind of talked about starting a podcast previous to going to Celebration, but
right.
didn't really go
Well,
anywhere with it.
and one thing turns into another. It was we just started talking about doing a podcast. I tried to do a podcast years ago with my friends. You and I sat down to do the basketball one, Chris, where I
We
talked
did
about
several. We did 8 or 9 test runs.
We did.
Oh,
we
really?
did. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have one or two of them. I probably actually have all of them still.
But
that
now
are
you
just
have
audio.
me.
Now we have you. But the LeBron James one's really funny. Just my lack of knowledge. That's when he didn't even have a ring yet.
Yeah,
So
that's
he
true.
hadn't won a championship yet. But anyways, so we'd been wanting to do it for a while. So I approached Chris about doing it again. And I was like, well, if we're going to do all the work doing a podcast, might as well make a video podcast.
Right.
And record the footage. And then so we're like, oh, we have this space that we can use. And then we made the space. And I was like, this space isn't going to work. So we made this space, and then we started doing it. But it's been fun to have ideas and videos that you can, you express yourself. And I really like. I'll never forget the feeling of watching the first Lego video come together because
I know that was blew
I was there
my
for all the
mind
shots.
What Chris did
But when we saw the first one, I was like, "This is really cool." So I can't wait to do that with like the other. Like we have a lot of Legos to build. A lot of
Legos. So one thing that I sort of want to talk about too, it's like because we're like a new channel, we've been doing video stuff forever. I do video work 40, 50 hours a week outside of this for my actual job.
Right.
So like, and I'm constantly like playing around with new stuff, doing that. Actually, quick side story. I made this super sick graphic today, and I was gonna render it out to show you, and I totally forgot.
That's a bummer.
It was just one of those things where like I, for one reason or another, had like an extra 20 minutes. So I was like, I'm gonna try to do something cool with it. And it was like, wow, that turned out way better than I thought it was going to. Anyway, so it's like I'm always trying new stuff doing that, so I can try doing cool things like that for this channel, and then sort of vice versa. If I do something that I really like here, I can take it to work with me then too. But we, like since we started messing around trying to do other types of content, I want to do more games and stuff too. I know that they weren't like the best performing videos that we had,
right?
But they still do fairly decently, and I think that it's just another way to people like get to know you guys. We get to sort of test your knowledge on things or whatever.
Right.
Shout out to the Name That Lego Brick series. Jeremy, give me a point up to the thing. You can watch. There's a playlist right there. You can watch all of those. See how good you are at naming Lego bricks when all you can see is their silhouette.
Did mine ever get posted in my knowledge of Lord of the Rings?
Nope, that's still in the back. That's still sitting in the
hopper.
We have
quite a few videos.
I think we have 6 Name That Lego Bricks, the Lord of the Rings trivia thing, Funny Town names.
Yeah, we haven't done. Yeah, that's right.
We have all these things.
I forgot about that.
Chris tried to stump me with Lord of the Rings trivia.
It didn't work because Kara knew it all.
Oh my goodness!
And that's why we don't even know if it'll make it into a video. It's just too good. There's nothing entertaining about it.
So
it's not like you're punching someone in the arm and leg sweeping them.
Get good.
So so coming up with the games and stuff is fun. I just like the idea of like doing games, and it's fun for people. Mm-hmm. But then we were alternating between the games and the Lego builds for people that are like coming to the channel new. Yeah. Right. That's sort of what we were doing. So the podcast is every Monday morning, and then on Thursday afternoons we were alternating between those things. And then we came up with the idea of reviewing the Star Wars films, but just in a way that just made it a little bit more fun for us. One of my coworkers, or Keith, who's been on the podcast, was like, how come you guys never say anything bad about Star Wars? Most people I know that love something always have all this trash to talk about it too. And I was like, well, I don't want to make just a bunch of videos that are just like saying Star Wars sucks.
Right.
And it's like, well, what if we do one where it's like we take the stance of like Star Wars is awful and here's why. And then we do another one where we're like defending Star Wars.
Right.
Because like some movies, like so the original trilogy don't really need a defense, but it's fun to just like say all the things that we like about it.
Right.
Where the original trilogy, a lot of the films need a defense, it seems, against the popular internet.
Right.
So it's like people can kind of get behind that, but then the people, so you get to look at it from both sides.
Right.
And it really makes you appreciate the films in a different way.
The other I really like about it is a great opportunity is whenever, we've taken my parents to see, and Kara's parents to see all the Star Wars, the new movies, 7, 8, and soon to be 9, to the launch night.
Well, even Rogue One and Solo.
And they always go, oh, I love this movie, but I can't remember what happened in this episode, or I can't remember what happened in this episode.
So what we should really have everybody over on Wednesday night.
That's what the videos are for. If you really want to if
you
watch,
can get a good refresher in 25 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. That's true.
Sorry, everyone's cutting you off.
No, it's okay.
My mom commented when I think she was watching episode 2 is great. I think it was. Mm-hmm. And she's like, because she's seen all the movies too,
right?
But she's like, you guys putting the clips in there makes it so much easier for me to remember all the stuff that you're talking about. She's like, I remember the idea of what you guys are talking about. Then you got to the clip, and then it immediately refreshes it, and it's like that's kind of the idea behind what we're doing. Is like we talk about a thing and then we show it, so you guys. You don't need to rewatch a 2.5-hour movie to get what we're talking about.
I like the clips. It's a fun way to narrate a point. Again, it was introducing another new skill, and it just there's all these fun things, and it expands the horizon a little bit. But I really think it'll be neat to see. I'm excited to be able to do it with the Rise of Skywalker. I can't wait to. We won't have clips, but we can sit down. I want to come down immediately afterwards, and come film the episode.
So, and like what I was talking about with that too is like we can do our own special edition. So when we can get the clips in it, we can do a re-upload with reference material.
We should just do it. We should do a re-upload. I wonder if we should just do it live.
Do it live.
Yeah.
Do what live?
Do one camera angle live.
I mean, I suppose we could. We'll have to figure out the logistics of that. We got some time.
We got some time.
I mean,
But do the good, do the good at least, or the bad, or just do a straight up live episode of what we thought of the movie, and then do a good, bad, and then do a re-release. I don't know. It'd be pretty fun. It'd be pretty fun.
We'll have to figure out
Because anyways, the whole point of it is, I think a lot of people are going to want to like digest the movie, and being able to be in a position to provide us our point of view out there. It's kind of cool.
Well, and like it's sort of like the more we've been making these, the better we've been at sort of like discussing the points and laying them out in a way that makes sense for people and stuff. Like I'm sure if I've not rewatched these since I've uploaded them. I watched them like 4 or 5 times in the process of editing them.
yeah.
So I don't really feel the need to go back and watch them. But I'm sure that episode 1 is great. Is not nearly as good as the one that's coming out next week is going to be. What Return of the Jedi is great.
Right.
Yes.
So just like from an assembly standpoint, knowing what we're talking about and just sort of getting into the rhythm of doing that. But then that also sets us up so like you're saying, like gaining a skill. So like going into episode 9,
Right.
we're going to be in a lot better position to be able to actually discuss it as a brand new thing.
Right.
So being refreshed with all the events of the series coming up to that point, but then being used to talking about it and articulating our points.
So what I'm really excited about too, though, is again, I'm excited to be talking about a movie or doing like a YouTube video about a movie that just came out that I really care about.
Right.
Like really, really care about. And so it's Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker is the end of this like 9-part trilogy.
Nonology.
That's it's
Skywalker
crazy.
saga.
Yeah.
The Skywalker saga. And then to be able to come down here, fire up the cameras, get everything going, and then just sit and talk about it. I think it'll be a great like memory making tool and be able to go back and remember this moment because it'll be closing a big chapter in my life,
I think that's a big point too, is like all the other films have been out for at least 2 years at this point.
Right.
Episode 8, not quite 2 years, but getting close. And we haven't done episode 8 yet anyway.
Nope.
But so we've had time to actually reflect on them and watch them multiple times before the rewatches.
Right.
So that sort of gives us a better idea of how we feel about it anyway. But so going into this one, like your initial reaction to stuff is probably your most earnest reaction. So coming straight out of a film that we haven't seen and doing
there you go, and that's another be a contrast to
Yeah.
you can compare that to 9 and then all the previous episodes. But if people come to the channel that like if they're looking for Star Wars stuff, they might see the channel and then come and check it out and then be like, oh hey look, we can see what these guys thought about 1 through 8, and there'll be a ton of other videos for them to watch. And then the other cool thing is we've gone through and watched the videos now within the past couple months. We've been able to watch all the movies. So all the movies are fresh in my head. But Star Wars is a generational movie, and parents introduce it to their kids because most people, Star Wars is Kanan started this whole big internet viral video about how he rips apart people for getting so mad that Star Wars is being
Freddie Prinze Jr.?
marketed towards kids. George Lucas's point when he made the original movies was to market to kids because if you make a fan as a kid, they're going to be a fan for life.
Yep.
Yeah.
So at this point, anybody who's going to watch the movie that's younger than 50, never saw the original movies in theaters,
Yep.
And so they've only ever had the knowledge of it shared with them from their parents. And so there's like this huge relationship and community all around Star Wars there's not many movies like that. I mean, there's a lot of Avengers movies, but anybody who saw, like, I saw Iron Man in theaters and I also saw Endgame, so I saw those in theaters, right? I never saw the original ones in theaters in 77 when they were released.
Right.
So you've got this, you always read Star Wars stories about, oh, my dad used to show me these and I watch them in remembrance, or, thinking and seeing Yoda reminds me of my grandpa or something.
Well, I told you I had a patient the other day, and she has a roommate
Oh, yeah.
who is mad in love with Star Wars, and she's forcing my patient to go with her to the Rise of Skywalker opening night.
Okay.
And like I said,
Are we going to see them at the theater?
we probably will. She's going to the same time. She wants to run into me so she can introduce me to her roommate. But her roommate is making her watch all of the movies. She's making her watch them chronologically instead of release order, which is fine, whatever. But her roommate especially loves 4, 5, and 6 because that is her fondest memory of her dad. Growing up, watching these movies with her dad and her brother, and her dad passed away 2 years ago. So it's
Oh.
like even more of like a
Right.
touching thing for her.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
so like, and so the same thing to both of your points. When I was growing up, so like obviously Star Wars, like my dad wasn't like a huge Star Wars nut or whatever.
Right.
We had the
My
Star
dad
Wars movies
was.
around, but like my dad like action movies and stuff. So it's like Indiana Jones kind of like holds that thing for me.
Yes.
Just watching those all the time with my dad, or like the Rambo movies, or like Bloodsport, like these like just 80s action films. Like outside of the fact that 80s action movies are just awesome in general.
Right. Yeah.
It's like the Lethal Weapon. Oh my gosh.
I love
Beverly
Bloodsport,
Hills Cop.
yeah.
All of these movies that I'd watch with my dad just because like they're the movies that he liked and they're good movies. And now
Right.
it's like those are something like moving forward that like, it's like if I ever have kids, like I definitely like obviously like maybe find the right time to show them to them. But it's like they do have that generational thing. But it's James Bond is the one that I think would be the closest to Star
Yeah.
Wars in terms of the fact that they're still making new movies now,
Right.
but it's a franchise that started in our parents' era.
right.
So it's
I went and saw not GoldenEye with my dad, but the one after that.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Okay,
think.
don't judge. The only James Bonds I've seen are the Daniel Craig James Bonds.
I mean, those aren't bad. Well, so every other one is bad, but that's
But
not a
it's
bad
Daniel
place to start.
Craig.
So the first one that I distinctly remember seeing was GoldenEye.
Yep.
But my buddy Nick, they owned every James Bond movie, and we binge watched before binge watching was really a thing on VHS.
Yes, VHS. Rewind. Be
Yeah.
kind. Rewind.
All the James Bond movies. So it's like all these like iconic characters. You have Blofeld and Jaws, and I can never remember the short guy's name. Odd Job.
Odd Job.
It's like all the like, and so James Bond. Like I actually was recently rewatching a couple James Bond films, and like there's some stuff in there that's like it's just not okay anymore.
No.
But they're just like they're movies that have been well enough received and consistently produced enough and popular enough that they keep making them now.
Right.
But the point I was getting to is like they're the closest thing to Star Wars and something that like people would actually like. People love James Bond movies,
Right.
but maybe not to the same like extreme as people love Star Wars films, and like and will share them. And that's the only other film franchise I can really think of that spans the amount of time. It has more films in it,
Right.
Because it's like it's every 3 or 4 years you get another James Bond movie
Right.
on average. But whereas Star Wars had like some big gaps in like from 83 to 99
Right.
for sure, and then 05 to 15. So there's a 10-year and a 20-year gap.
Right.
Yeah.
26-year gap. So,
Yeah, no, there's not a lot of them. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of them, but yeah, because of that age gap, you've got just a wide variety of people who have a reason to go watch them. So it's pretty amazing,
and then, so jumping back to the talking about like the different types of things. So we're doing the movie reviews now. That's a series that will end. It's not
Right.
something that
Yeah.
we can keep doing forever
No.
because there's only 9 films as of right
Right.
now. So
Well,
it's like
Just got to go on to the next one. We'll do Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
Back to the Future, Lord of the Rings.
I'll be happy to put this series to bed for a while.
Yeah.
And then,
totally agree.
like, so bringing back the time lapses and the games,
Right.
because I like both of those things. We have a couple other ideas that we're sort of working on in the background, and kind of the idea going forward. And like, this is sort of like the like talking directly to the people episode. Like, if there's some type of content that you think that we would like making that you'd like to see us make,
Right.
it's like suggest stuff down below too, because we kind of want to rotate through some different stuff so we can be in production on one thing while putting out another type of content. So it gives us the time that we need to be able to make stuff as well as we can.
Right.
The reason that we were alternating the games and the Lego time lapses is like it's impossible to make one of those videos in a week without me like
Dying.
dying.
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of do that, try and build up a little bit of a lead on that so that we can work on a couple other things that we want to do. And just hopefully sort of like rotate through stuff and find things that everybody like really responds to, and we can sort of like play around with the form of those things as we get to them. But that's kind of the plan moving forward.
I know, like, when we ran into those little kids, I know it's still a time-lapse Lego build, but those little kids we ran into when we did the ship in a bottle, they wanted us to do, like, Marvel Lego builds.
Yeah.
So
like,
move off of Star Wars for a couple, maybe, and do some...
We have a lot of Legos to
I
build.
know we do.
Yeah, I don't think that Lego time lapse is something that'll ever come off of the rotation.
No, gosh,
No.
no.
But like I said, like
No, it's
My
just been
favorite.
it's been with me leaving for a couple weeks to go to New Orleans, and then doing the...
Yeah, because we initially were going to bring it back just to do the Star Destroyer.
Yes.
But the timing didn't really work out for it.
So yeah, it was like we were going to still like cycle in a video every now and then just to keep up with those, but it just ended up we're going to finish the series and then move on to the next.
Yep.
Like if we can get enough of a lead on stuff, we've discussed going up to 3 videos a week so that we can keep having. So because depending on how robust the schedule is for doing other stuff, maybe like Saturdays will alternate between Lego builds and games or whatever, and then Thursday will be whatever the recurring series rotators will be. Mm-hmm. Who knows moving forward, but that's something that we've considered as well. So if you guys are looking for even more stuff from us, let us know if you're interested in seeing something like that. It's a little bit more work, obviously, but it's worth doing if people are interested in seeing it.
Right. Totally agree.
So I think at this point, so like we sort of like talked about like how we got to this point and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like what were the goals when we first started doing this? Like sort of like going. I don't know if you even remember like sort of like the pitch idea that you sent to me, but
it was just. We went to the Star Wars Celebration. And I saw that there was like 30,000 people there having a really good time that were just like me. And I'm not, again, we don't have, that's what was fun about DuluCon is we don't really have an event like that by where we live. And so we put one on and it was really, turned out really well. And so we're going to keep doing those keep doing those events and things like that. But I was like, wow, his words in quoted in Caramanthia, I'm not alone. So no, we're not alone. So
I'm
it was
never
like
gonna live that down.
we were like 30,000 other people that were like me, and
yeah, you're not alone, Jeremy.
yeah, I'm not alone. And so it was just like, okay, well, maybe people do want to listen to what we have to talk about, I guess, or stuff like that. And being that we were on the cusp of now, we've like acquired a lot of gear to get it to that level that we deem acceptable. But it was like we had enough to get started, or at least we were at the point where we felt like we could pull something together. And then it's grown from there. And then what's nice is at least like growth and gear wise is we're almost tapered off to where we need to be to just be able to make productions for a while, which is kind of cool.
We need 8 more apertures, Jeremy.
I know.
I don't want to break the news to you, but we need that.
Yeah, we need C-stands and more tripods.
We need tripods, C-stands, way more lights.
I know. You can never have enough lights.
You need to pick up a part-time job.
You can never have enough lights. But yeah, and just it's just really cool. And Peter McKinnon said in one of the videos I was watching lately is like, you pick up a camera and you get started, and it is a way for you to express your creativity. And I always envy people that can draw. You mentioned people that can sing, and there's voice acting, and there's always people with creative outlets. And I think like video production and photography is like the one that I can do. So it's fun about this is that when we're done like making these videos, I can go take my camera out and go do projects together, and like you're saying, like improving your skills and doing stuff like that too. So it's kind of fun, and I like want to step up my Instagram game. I want to step up some of my social media presence because it's really hard. You
just need to have the same diligence and tenacity with doing that as I do editing the video.
Oh, I know, right? It's crazy. So.
Yeah, Jeremy, get on it. Come on.
Like Kara's got all of her cosplay stuff.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Like that was something that I was really interested in doing when we were starting this. We've done literally nothing up to this point with the cosplay aspect of it.
I know.
Well, I was looking at when we met the 501st. They have those cards they give out, and they have like other cosplays that they can do. And so the one lady who's Shak T has one other one, and it's Leia. And I was like, Kara's got Siri and Rey and Ahsoka and Rosie. Like you've got a lot of like different costumes you can do. But she makes them all, and I'm never home to grab any footage of it.
Well, he just needs to help me set up in my room.
We just need to teach Kara how to operate the gear.
Yeah, there you go.
Jeremy.
She can just do selfie style. Well, I need your 16 to 20 or 16 to 35 then.
That's this lens right here.
So I need that.
Why do you need it?
Because that's what Pete uses.
No, well, he's the Mark
Wait,
III.
how has Peter become Pete?
Well, because it's what his friends call him.
Yeah, you have to call him Mr. McKinnon.
Yeah, Jeremy, you are not friend levels with Peter McKinnon yet, so it's Mr. McKinnon to you.
Yeah.
In my head, I call him Pete.
You sounded so sad.
I wonder what Pete's up to.
But
then I watch his videos.
No, so like the idea being, it's like so when you guys came to me talking about this, it's like we've tried starting and failed many times with doing YouTube.
Oh, my
stuff.
biggest thing was consistency.
So like the fact that we've gone 6 months and basically we've had a couple of hiccups in terms of like getting stuff uploaded, but it's never been for lack of us actually having made the video. It's
Right.
because like I scheduled it the wrong day
Or the YouTube beta
we're-
uploader.
the beta uploader screwed us over. The not having internet in California
Yep.
messed us up. And then for some reason I scheduled one to upload on Tuesday instead of Monday for some reason.
No, it happens.
You know, it's
there's the-
fine.
yeah,
we just
the-
lost 10 subs. It's fine.
But I don't think that's the case. But
Just kidding.
man, that was going somewhere with this. I can't remember. Well, but so then outside of that, like we had some like goal. I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but I think it'd be interesting for people to understand like where we like when we started was like what our outlook was, like how long we said we were going to try and do this for, what our
Yeah,
targets were.
no,
and
I'm
stuff.
totally cool with that. Is so like the big thing has always been consistency when starting a business, and I don't know how. Because with YouTube's algorithms and the way everything works, I honestly don't know how much that affects your video shown rate and like exposure. I don't know because it doesn't. I just would assume there was a little bit more growth due to that, but I wanted to try it for a year. So we started May 5th, and I wanted to try for it in a year and see where we're at.
Well, we recorded our first video May 4th,
Right.
but we didn't post it until
May 5th. Yeah, and actually like start the channel and do everything when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, wanted to try it really hard for a year and see what happens. And then it got really crazy with doing, because I think it was just going to at least be one video a week, was it not?
Well, yeah, because you guys came at me, we just wanted to do like the podcast, and my counter was that podcasts, like unless you're an actual, like I'm not saying we're not an actual podcast,
Right.
right? But this isn't the primary content that we're like really pushing out to people. This
Right.
is sort of like supplementary content to what we ended up actually doing. But,
Right.
You know, it's the thing that we do the most, obviously, like consistently. But it's just something where it's like it's hard to sell somebody on the idea of watching you for an hour every week.
Totally.
Where they have all this other content that they can take in.
A lot of other content. So with the new iPhone, you get funny little joke about last week. We got done with the episode. I looked at my phone and it said Apple Plus now available. So literally 3 minutes after we finished the episode about streaming, Apple Plus launched.
Yep, and we didn't even talk about it. I
We
totally
didn't even
forgot
talk
about it.
I did too. But I just saw a thing. Now, if you buy a new iPhone, you get Apple streaming for a year for free. And it's like, I read some reviews about the shows. Kara is trying to finish Chernobyl, which she's almost done with. She has one
more
episode left.
episode.
But it's like, there is so much stuff to watch, and especially YouTube. It's like how the market is saturated. It is saturated. There's so much. And so it's like, in order to get people to watch a video.
Yeah, so like having shorter form content, and that's the whole idea that I pitched behind the Thursday videos. And like so granted the movie reviews are a little bit longer, but like something in the 10 to 15 minute long range was the idea.
Right.
That people can watch and get an idea of like what your guys' personalities are like or what you guys are interested in. So they'll if they want to know more or hear our opinions on stuff, they can come and watch the podcast or listen to the podcast. So again, quick shout out to anybody who's an audio listener. If you haven't checked us out on YouTube. We go up on the exact same time
Yep.
on the webs, and you can come with youtube.com/rise the podcast, and you can look upon us with your eyes. If you
We're real
want to.
people. That's the other thing I was going to say that has given me a vast more appreciation. I think we can probably end on that. Is just I use the way I interact with YouTube now is completely different. I was never someone who was logged in ever. I would just specifically search for the video topic I wanted to watch or subject. I had a couple channels that I enjoyed, but it wasn't very many, because I wasn't using the platform. Its algorithms weren't showing me stuff that I would like, and those things have been working slightly. Like I've got a couple really, like you've recommended some, Chris. There's some I've stumbled across. And so now I have like my subs and the subscriptions when I log on each day. It's like really fun to see a content creator that you like. Hence why I'm throwing around the name Pete, because I feel like I have more, like when Peter's making a video, I have more of a connection with him because he's addressing it to like you. It's a little bit different format to watch than when you're watching a TV show and they're interacting with each other.
Yeah.
A lot of like vloggers and stuff like that, they're interacting with you as the person. So that's what's really been fun about it.
That is the big differentiating factor between YouTube and any other like streaming service, is that YouTube is about the people that are making it.
Right.
And like I'm not saying like above and beyond 100% the content that they're making, but people respond more to the people that are making it than the stuff that they're making.
Right.
There's lots of people making lots of cool content, and like when you talk about like tutorials and stuff, like you were mentioned, like you were watching some stuff that Peter McKinnon had done in terms of tutorials. This is the just like shower lump on Peter McKinnon.
That's
episode
fine.
now.
It's gonna. I'm gonna be referencing him anyways.
So there's like I like his videos. I love his style and everything. but when I'm doing tutorials, there's other people that I think they present information that I'm looking for in a different way. So like when I'm looking for like Photoshop stuff, I go to Piximperfect. That
Right.
dude is amazing. So like this is gonna be the shout out every YouTuber that I like thing. There's a bunch of things like Cinecom.net for doing like cool like graphics and stuff like that.
Right.
Man, my mind's drawn a blank. But there's like I'm subscribed to like 150 channels, and all of them are for different reasons. In terms of like, this is the place I go if I want to like get suggestions for gear, and this is the place that I go to if I'm looking for specifically After Effects tutorials or Photoshop or Lightroom. All these things. There's people that it's like, I just like the way that they present the information. So that's not to say that they're any better or worse than anybody else, but that's the power of YouTube is you find the content that's made the way that you like it being made.
Right.
And so that's what we're trying to do here is make it like we like the content that we're making. We're interested in the topics, and then we're just trying to make sure that we find the right people who are interested in the way that we're presenting information and want to like learn more about what we're interested in.
Well, and so that's an interesting thing I run into at work is just people. It's like they're like, oh, what do you do with your free time? And it's like, oh, filming an episode. Like I was going to mention that was one last thing is that it's a huge time commitment. Like,
it is.
We drive to the studio, we film, we set up the cameras, we film the episodes, we do. Hey now I help when I can. And then, but then Chris goes back and edits everything, and then we've got to like review some of the stuff sometimes, and then give it a final approval, and then export it, and then there's design and everything. There's just lots and lots and lots of moving pieces, and it is a way bigger time commitment than I originally had scheduled for. It was like, oh, just make a video or two a week, and no, it's crazy time commitment. But I don't remember the big point I was going to make with that, but it. Something about what's just funny to me too is like you have all these specific people for learning like After Effects or things like that. How can a guy using a software program make a better how-to video than the people who make the actual stuff themselves? Because like you go and watch the Adobe tutorials and they're nowhere near as good as some people who,
Well, they're probably reading straight out of the dumb manual book, and you're like.
Well, so yeah, because I think so. This has been my experience because I have had like classical like Adobe training on stuff, and then. The difference is when you're going through tutorial, you're looking to do a very specific thing.
That's true.
They just assume you know how to do some stuff,
right?
So and they'll the Adobe tutorials don't necessarily say I'm going to grab the selector tool and then do this. They'll like make it really dry and boring, right?
Right.
But it's like usually it's like the graphic thing. I watched a tutorial on part of the thing I was trying to do. It was with a frost effect. And like the guy didn't assume that I needed to know anything about how any of the stuff works. He's just like, this is what you do.
Right.
So it's a lot more direct. But then they also it's kind of like when people do like Twitch streams and stuff. It's sort of that like stream of consciousness. They're also saying what they're doing, so you get an idea. I learned so much more stuff just sort of tangentially because they assume that I know what it is, but they're just saying what they're doing just so you know. And it's like, oh, that's how that works. I was like, oh, that's how you sidechain this, or this is how you set this as a clipping mask. And it's like things that's like, I've never thought I need to Google how to do a clipping mask in Photoshop.
Right.
But now I know how to do clipping masks in Photoshop because I was watching a tutorial about a completely different thing. It was like, yeah, just do a quick clipping mask. I was like, oh, that's, so it's like, instead of being really dry and technical and really just sort of laboring through every single point because they don't assume you know anything about it. It's like they're just like up and running, and they're like you can always rewind. Like I think they realize you can always rewind the video and watch it again and get what they're saying.
Right.
Whereas like for some reason the stock tutorials come and they're just like if we don't belabor every single point, they're not going to be able to remember it.
Right.
So and then like I said, like the personalities of the people like go a long way too. Like I just like. There's something I'm just gonna shout out Piximperfect again because like Photoshop legend. This guy is the best at doing Photoshop tutorials, and he's just got like his like demeanor and attitude and the way he says stuff is just like it's so friendly and it just like makes me want to listen to him.
Right.
And it's like and it's just like he's just a dude in a room of foam with a Wacom and a screen capturing thing, and it's just like it's just awesome.
Yep. Well, that's why I like the Craftsman.
The Craftsman. Yeah, he's got personality.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not just like, here's how you do stop motion things. Step 1.
Right.
Get whatever. It's like he wraps it inside of a package that's like entertaining to do.
It's
like
really good.
I don't want to call it infotainment because I think it's kind of like a dirty word.
Right.
It's like people don't want to be infotained.
Right.
Right.
But it's something where it's like you're gaining information while being entertained.
Right.
You know, so it's like and I think the nice thing about that is like he shows you the practical application as he's showing you the technique.
Right.
It's like, here's what I do, here's what it looks like.
Right.
Right.
You know, and then like this is the final result of the thing. So,
Well,
well,
I think we're probably running out of time.
are we?
I think so.
I suppose. So that's kind of where we're at with this. So moving forward, we want to make a lot of more cool stuff, but
I hope you guys want us to make more cool things too.
yeah. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Right?
Oh, I hope so.
I mean, come on.
Actually, so there is one last thing. So now that we've been doing it for 6 months, what's the one thing that you're like, because I know you sort of talked about like it being more time than you thought, but like what's one thing that's like completely unexpected that you kind of like don't like about it?
Okay, well, there's like either just making videos or the platform, or what are you thinking?
Just anything about like, so when you're like, okay, we're gonna do this for a year and then we'll reassess after that or whatever. But what's something where like you didn't realize it was gonna be a thing and you're like, I wish that wasn't a thing.
I just, so we've done a little bit of everything. We've done a little bit of promotion. We've done a little bit of normal stuff. The frustrating thing is like when we promote videos, it seems like people click on them and watch them and enjoy them and like stick through them. And then when we just kind of let stuff sit organically, it doesn't really get any growth, which is
Right.
really weird. So part of me is it's like, what's going on in the background? You know, I don't. I feel like you know, if YouTube gave us more of a shot or showed our videos a little bit more, like they would watch them. I don't exactly get the whole YouTube's algorithm.
Yeah, I agree
I
with
guess
that.
to sum it up, we put a lot of effort into our content, a lot, and the amount of effort we're putting in versus like the amount of feedback we get are like miles apart. That's
Yeah.
all. So you get your initial burst of like family and friends support, and then from there, you know, you'd think you'd grow a little bit, but I don't know. It's interesting the way the internet works. That's why it's been really refreshing to see some of these different YouTubers that I enjoy, and that's what's fun too is when you've got like Peter's got over 4 million subs, the Craftsman's got like 250,000, and then I've got people with like 10,000 subs. But I don't know any other channels with only a couple hundred, you know, subs or whatever. And
It's like you don't even get exposed to them
I don't
until
even
they
get
hit
exposed.
1,000 or 2.
Exactly, I don't even get exposed to them. So it's like,
And by Jeremy saying what he's saying, we are very grateful for our subs.
No,
like
absolutely.
extremely. We're just frustrated that we can't figure out YouTube's dumb algorithm.
Yeah, this is complaining about YouTube.
Yeah.
This is
Not
complaining
you
about
are
you
subs.
guys.
No, it's
you
just-
subs are wonderful. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we appreciate that you stumbled across a channel with 19 people subscribed to it and
Right.
decided to stick around.
Yes.
right. No, but it's a lot of work, and it feels like you know, it's just interesting. But I know the market's extremely saturated. We talk about
Right.
that with all the
Yeah.
streaming services and stuff like that. And like I love gaming a lot, and you know, like, you know, PC games and stuff like that. And it's like we haven't even been able to enjoy some of the things that we like to do because we're working on this. But that's why it's trying to find. As long as we have fun making our videos, which I really do enjoy making a lot of these videos. So
Yeah,
they're a lot of fun.
One last sort of rider on what your comment is like it's fun to see the spikes when something actually like
Yeah.
does resonate with people or
Right.
whatever, but then it gets really frustrating when it just drops right back down to what it
Right.
was before.
Right.
You know, so it's like, and if anybody like, not that we're like being like we need help getting our name out there or whatever, but it's like if you do enjoy our content,
Right.
feel free to share this with
Right.
people
Oh,
that
yeah.
you think would like it.
Well, that's what was cool too. Is like the parody video was retweeted by the Star Wars producer, publicist, Star Wars publicist lady,
Tracy
That-
Canobio?
That
Yeah.
was cool. You
Yeah.
know, that was really cool. But
Yeah, it's like lots of cool stuff has happened in the last 6 months, but so
And
I
more
don't-
cool things
yeah.
are going to happen in the next 6 months.
Is there anything that like, because I feel like, so like Jeremy and I have been doing like a bunch of video stuff. I don't really know what your video experience was before doing this. But so has there
None.
been anything where it's like, man, it's like when I said, sure, Jeremy, let's do this, I was like, oh, what was I getting into?
I don't know. I guess I agree with Jeremy. Like, just see, like, I'll look like expecting to see at least 2 more subs, and I'm like, we haven't gained a single sub. So yeah, I mean, I guess this is the same thing with Jeremy. And then we come in and record on Tuesday nights, and I'll tell you what. When I'm done with work, I'm just like, I want to go home and relax. And I'm like, oh yeah, got to go record. So
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It takes a lot of
time.
time to
It
make
does.
these videos.
So, and then when you guys don't see me, it's just me sitting at my desk in the dark.
I know.
I know.
Poor Chris. Chris puts in more into this than we do.
No, a lot.
I mean,
no, a
just
lot.
time wise,
Yeah.
but like
Time-wise,
everyone contributes what they need to contribute.
That's
but.
true. It's true.
Honestly, like coming into this is kind of about what I expected it was going to be, just because I had the most experience with like YouTube as a platform.
Right.
And I was like, I know maybe initially when we were talking about this, like I might have, it seemed like I was coming off as negative sometimes or whatever, but it's sort of like a tempering of expectations thing. I think that we're progressing very well.
Right.
It's just a matter of us, like, you know, making sure we're doing all the things we can do to make sure that people are getting exposed to what we're doing. Because I feel like the people that are watching this thing are actually enjoying it.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if people have listened this far into this thing and haven't enjoyed it, I apologize that we have not been entertaining. And
Are
that
you
just
not
wasted,
entertained?
that you just wasted an hour of your life. But yeah, it's just you know, like we're trying really hard to make cool stuff, and we want people to actually be able to see it.
Right.
So, and then so you had mentioned like going for a year, and then we sort of like revised that because we want to go through at least next Star Wars Celebration, which would
Correct.
put us at like a year and 4 months or something.
Mm-hmm.
So where are you guys sitting right now? It's like if we're like, okay, let's scratch the last 6 months and we're going to start our year now. Would that be something that would upset you, or?
Well, here's an interesting. This is different. This is what I was just thinking. If we were to start over again, like start over again with a new channel, or if I would have gone back to May and then completely redid it between now and then, that there are things that I would do differently. There's definitely things. I think I would have stuck to one video a week. I think, and only focused on maybe like. I just feel like the video podcast. It's a tough. They're longer videos, and I don't know if, you know, like the cross contamination of people not watching the podcast is affecting like the Thursday videos, or it's just a whole crazy thing. But I think I would have focused more on making like, just more like, I don't know, maybe more production into one video than two. I don't know how much the consistency has been working out. When I started, I felt like consistency was the key factor, and consistently releasing content kind of like proves to YouTube, like, oh, hey, these guys are. If we show them to people and they like them, then they're gonna be able to keep coming back and keeping people on the platform, because YouTube's all about keeping people on the platform.
Yeah.
So I think the only like the big thing I would change is just do like, when a video is done, it's done, and not necessarily worry about like a release schedule, but at least like make a video that's awesome and then push it out there, and then go on to the next one and try to do that and then push it out there, rather than like doing the consistency thing, because it seems like the consistency thing is I haven't seen a reflection. It's like, oh, like a steady, you know, growth or anything. You know, it's been. It has been. It's been.
Well, I think the problem with the thing is the window is so narrow when you're looking at it.
Right.
If you look at it more blown out,
Right.
I think that it's a little bit more like that than you realize.
Right.
But that's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's like, you know, if I were to start over, I think I would, and that's the other thing. Well, now we're going to be an hour and a half here, but this has been the hardest part about getting older, plain and simple, is I can do less things now than I could when I was younger. When I was like going to college and doing those things, and like, you know, I'd say like even 18 to 25, I had a lot of hobbies. I was into cars. I was into video games. I was into hockey. I was into outdoor stuff. I was into, like, I would go hang out until late hours of the night, and it's like, now I got to work and now I got to do this. So you have to pick less things. So it's like, Kara and I love kayaking, and we love fishing, and I enjoy, like I said, the video games. I don't do car stuff anymore. We have kayaks. We don't do kayaking. We don't go for bike rides. So it's like you don't get a wide variety of, like, I love Pokemon. Pokemon's coming out soon, and I love Star Wars, and it's like I like all of this stuff, but you don't get to like pick. I want to enjoy photography, cars, video games, like you won't get to pick all the things you used to love. You really have to like chisel down and narrow down what you get to enjoy. Like, there's AAA titles that I like grew up with, like you have Modern Warfare and Halo and just all these different games, and it's like, you know, Skyrim and Fallout, and it's like Borderlands. I can't play all these series anymore and learn about them anymore because I just don't have the time. So it's like you have to come to the realization that the older you get, you have to like kind of narrow down your focus a little bit and focus on less stuff. And that's kind of been what you guys get to see as with us growing as a channel, is it's like we have Legos, we have games, we have the podcast, and I've talked to Chris about 10 different other ideas, and it's like, crap.
And I've pitched some ideas too.
Yeah, and it's like, that's not going to fit in our focus. That doesn't fit. So it's like, I guess the only other thing would be maybe even is like theme it down even more and maybe just focus on one specific thing, you know, because there's a lot we want to do.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, there's a line to straddle too, and you sort of touched on like you know, doing one thing or whatever. It's like
don't pardon my French or whatever. Don't half-ass a lot of things, whole-ass one thing.
Yeah. Well, that being said, I don't think that like anything that we're making has come out incomplete.
No.
No.
You know, so it's like I want to sort of say, because I don't want it to come across as Jeremy thinking that the things that we're making aren't up to what the standards we want to get them to.
No.
It just takes time.
Right.
But I think maybe one of the things, because you're talking about, like, we have like these podcasts, like the podcasts are a lot different than the other things that we do.
Right.
So maybe moving forward, like, I'm not saying second channel or something like
Right.
that, but and we're young enough as a channel too, I think, that we can sort of explore and do different things,
Right.
and figure out stuff. Because there's plenty of channels that I watch that just do 20,000 different things, and it works for them.
Right.
You know, like particularly like people that play like different video games and stuff like that.
Right.
But you know, maybe it's something where it's like we decide, like, maybe Rise of the Podcast is just where the podcast goes.
Right.
And then we have a different thing where that's where we sort of like play around and do a few other different things.
Right.
That are like that shorter form content. But I don't know, we'll see as we're going through. But yeah, it's interesting to sort of see how having experience in it sort of changes like the mechanics by which you would attempt to do it. So
Right.
like I'm if I were gonna go back and do it, I think I would. And not that I think that starting two channels at the same time is a good idea, but I think I would have agreed to do something similar. Maybe we just do an audio podcast initially,
Right.
and just focus on doing a podcast as a podcast in this traditional form,
Right.
And then we do these other videos and we just sort of like cross contaminate back and forth,
Right.
Be like, hey, if you like this, we have a podcast on iTunes or whatever,
Right.
and then on
Right.
the podcast, like, hey, we do these videos on YouTube. So that's like more purely distilled into the medium that they're normally in.
Right.
But then you still get to get people going to both places. I don't know. Well, that remains to be seen. It's tricky.
It's crazy, but you know, and yeah, no, it's great. It's one of the things. It's like, you know, like I love to travel too, and it's like, so the podcast is a great kind of catch-all for things that we want to try and maybe not be able to fit into other places. We can still talk about them on the podcast. Because, you know, originally it was going to be all talking about Star Wars. But then it's like I walk around and it's like those 30,000 people I met at Star Wars live across the entire United States. My friends are like, hey, man, I'm concerned about this in my life. Or, hey, this is fascinating to me. And it's like, oh, well, nobody wants to talk Star Wars with me, you know? So,
Yeah. Well, I think we do a pretty good job of making,
I'm super happy with.
of making sure that there's at least something Star Warsy
Right.
about most of the podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy being able to talk about, like, when we talk. Now, ever since we talked about it, quasars have popped out all over for me. I never knew about them until we talked about them. So
The collective unconscious, it's going to get you.
it is going to get. Well, they're all over in like Futurama, and they're all over in like.
I saw like at least 4 different Reddit posts about quasars, and people are like, we get hit by quasars all the time. They're just so far away, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, and so I never even thought about it or whatever. Like, I don't know, it was crazy. So it's fun to be able to shoot those different ideas that I want to talk about into a podcast form and make it a theme.
So, like, then again, like, just sort of similar question. I want to make it seem so it's not just me and Jeremy talking the whole time.
This is my life, guys, just so you know.
Kara's
Normally,
along for
I'm
the
zoning
ride.
out on Facebook, just like, yeah, okay, cool.
So, is there any, like, so the initial question wasn't what Jeremy ended up answering, because it wasn't if you could go back, what would you change?
I
It was
know,
like
that was my-
it was like if we were gonna say scratch the last 6 months. Like that we've already done the 6 months that we've done, right?
Right.
But if we restarted the timer, it's like, are we going to go for another year from now? Would that be something like, no, I only want to go to the first year and then
Honestly,
reassess?
if we quit, even after the year mark that we gave ourselves, I would be super sad. Like, yeah, I'd have more time on my hands, but I've enjoyed doing the podcasts and the Lego builds and the games and stuff like that. It's been fun, so I'd be depressed. It'd be.
She's
Well,
way
that's
more on board than you, Jeremy.
Oh no, it's not like that. No, it's not at all. No, but my mom loves Facebook because she says it documents her life. That's the coolest aspect about it to me. Is we can go back and it's been if any and of all else, you can go back and see how your life has changed over the course of once we started doing this, which is absolutely mind-boggling. You know, when we started, I had more hair.
I mean, technically.
It's really good. No, I'm just, anyways, but it's like, it's been cool because since then it's like we've had DuluCon and we've been planning it and I've seen that come and go. We have a convention we're going to, but we've seen like, I have a lot more Lego sets now than I used to have. But no, it's fun because you get to see your life change through the progression on the podcast. And then it's been fun too to like be able to retell old like stories that we haven't told yet and have new stories. And then it's like when we have new stories, those are fun to talk about too. And so,
So yeah, this is sort of like the state of the podcast address.
Woohoo!
So like things might be like, it's like we're constantly trying to find a way to make sure that we're A, making the best content, B, putting the content out in a way that people are actually going to see it. Because like, like not that we think that we're the greatest people ever and people have to see
Wait,
our
we
stuff.
aren't?
But
I mean,
right. But
come on.
we want to make sure that if there are people that want to see it, that people can see it. So it's like we might be doing some like restructuring stuff or whatever. Who knows? Like that's I just wanted to give you guys an update on like how we got to where we're here and like
Right.
what we're sort of planning on doing in the future. And that's sort of what the idea is with this.
The cool thing about a podcast, though, is it's what I love the contrast between you see like Karen and I building a Lego set and having goofy, fun moments, or like the razzing between like us and Bill and having him on as a guest, or like gift time with Bill, or just different
Gift
really
time with
cool,
Bill.
fun moments. And then the contrast of like what it's actually to make this stuff, because this was what was interesting to me is when I watch other video productions is that behind the scenes stuff to like literally figure out what's going on,
Yeah.
And so being able to like you guys get like a fresh view of what it's like to be on the videos and then be like this at the same time. But what the whole focus bit, that whole spiel, I was going to say, if you do want to start a YouTube channel, that was what I was going to say, would be just have a focus.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you like fishing, make a fishing channel.
Yeah.
And maybe,
I would say we have done a good job of like, we're a Star Wars channel.
right.
Right.
Like everything that we've made basically up to this point, like with very few exceptions, has been Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and maybe it's not as focused as it should be, but
Right.
that's sort of the idea. It's like you come here, you see Star Wars on all the stuff. It's
Right.
Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's even funny too, though, is it's like I wouldn't want to just do Star Wars anymore. It's like the ship in the bottle Lego build was really fun, or
Well,
like
I've enjoyed talking about different things. Like I know when we
Right.
first started, like we talked about Star Wars and Star Wars only, and
Yeah.
that was fun. But I do like now that we have a bit more freedom with what we talk about. It's not just okay, what's new in the Star Wars world today. Now it's like what's affecting us in our lives today, and just
Yeah,
kind of,
it's kind of slipped into sort of like not quite a vlog, but sort of vloggy.
Right.
kind of. So
Don't even get
that's
me
what I
started on
like.
nomenclature. I have a story afterwards. I had to talk about bullet points for a thing about what I do with my free time for like an application, and people are like, "Oh, you live a very personal life," and it's like, "Well, I do, but only to you." Not super personal. But anyway, so one of the bullet points was somebody wrote it for me, and then I just have to rub my head. They're like, "Oh, you run a pod space cast space internet blog?" I explained it to him, and he's like, that's a vlog. And I'm like, well, no, it's a podcast. He's like, but you make a video. And I said, but we also have a podcast. Like,
Yeah, it's a video podcast. Video podcasts are a thing.
It's a video podcast.
It's like people are like blown away with it, like podcast or audio. It's
Yeah,
like,
they
well,
can't.
Yes,
exactly.
but-
The
Yes
amount of people
and
that have
no.
had people tell me, the amount of people
Well-
I've had tell me that you can't have a video podcast blows my mind.
You can.
It's a video podcast. We also make it audio for
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Destiny, the Destiny Community Podcast also has a video.
Right.
Rooster Teeth also has a video.
Everybody that Rhett and Link also has a video.
Yeah.
It's like just because there's a video doesn't make it not a podcast.
Right.
Right.
You should just get to see us sitting in the room standing next to microphones.
I feel a vlog is just like a video diary of your day.
Yeah, I think like vlogging is inherently like usually vlogs about a person.
Right.
You know, and it's the camera moves around with them throughout their day.
Right.
Usually, it's not we're gonna go to a space and have a decompression session.
That's what this has been.
So,
But anyways, that
yeah,
was,
well, I'm just complaining about the definitions of vlog.
when the people
So,
look at me,
well-
they're like, "I've seen your episode. Words are hard." Like, all right, you.
So you know, maybe that's a thing. Maybe we do more of a vlog style thing instead of the podcast or something. I don't know.
Who
We'll
knows?
figure it out. What do you guys want to see us do? A vlog
Yeah.
or a podcast? I don't think anybody. Legally, I couldn't even have camera in my op at work. So I mean,
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, so it's just who knows. We'll figure it out. So, but I think the point is we're not going to be stopping doing stuff, but we're going to
No,
be
we'll keep
messing
making
around with
stuff,
stuff and
absolutely.
see
Oh my gosh, yeah.
see where we're at with stuff. Maybe stuff gets called different things. Who knows? So, well, there's 1,000 words for everything.
A picture, for instance.
Yes.
So, Chris, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, how much is a video worth?
Well, there's 24 photos per second. So for each second of video, you're talking about 24,000 words.
That was a
So
very
Lord of
quick
the
way.
Rings is what, 3
That-
hours and 11 minutes ish.
I was gonna say that's
So-
a very quick way to quantify a video versus a picture. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Unless it's a high speed video.
I mean, I'm just talking about general. But yeah, it's like 1,000 frames per second. Well, so the thing is, like, so now if you want to talk about that,
Oh, okay.
Let's have that be a
Tune in
different
next week.
video.
all right. So stopping there, if somehow you guys manage to get through all this video, I think that's worth a like. Like this video if you manage to somehow
I agree with Chris.
get through this entire thing without turning this video off. We really do appreciate it. Subscribe if you're not already. Ring the notification bell if you want to be notified every time we upload a video. It means a lot to us. It shows that you're on board with what we're doing and want to see more content like this. And comment down below. We asked about 20,000 questions throughout the course of this, and just respond to any of those things. We're not going to remember anything we asked, but like you guys, like we really do like interacting with you in the comments. It's really fun to see people actually engaged enough with our content and want to talk about the stuff with us more.
Totally.
It really, like, so just summing up the thing, we like doing this. We want to keep making more stuff. The more you guys interact with us, the better informed we are for making new stuff.
Yeah.
So like, comment, subscribe, and of course,
May the force be with you.